We're going to bring y'all into our huddle.
Today's Tuesday, August 13th, 2013, and you are in the NBA Huddle with me, Bram, and with me as always, my boy and producer, Scott.
Scott here.
And sitting with us for the first time, a real old friend and all-around expert on all things cartoons, my boy, Peter Haggett.
Woo!
Big entrance there, buddy. Did you work on that before you came in?
I did. I was actually oscillating between a few different type of intros here, and I kind of split the difference on that one. I was going to go from everything from a very vanilla kind of follow Scott's lead, like Peter here, to all the way to more of like a sexual chocolate, like, hey, baby, here I am on the podcast.
Well, you split it perfectly. How'd you feel it went? Did you feel pretty good?
I felt pretty solid about that. I was kind of worried about
blow out our eardrums of the listeners?
You kind of warned me about that beforehand?
Yeah, you did not follow instructions from the very first thing.
That is absolutely planned, Scott, specifically because you gave me those instructions.
I like that we already have a contentious opening, but we don't have to stay here. There's a lot of things for us to fight about. In fact, it's been a couple of weeks since our last podcast. You know we got big things to talk about, baby. In our Warriors update, we're going to go through the recently released Warriors schedule, talk about how it shows that the league finally respects Golden State, break down the various games that we're all looking forward to in that schedule, and then throw down some predictions, maybe even some bets about how many games the Warriors are going to win this year. Then we're going to bang the look around the league, and we're going to get to a section I have been looking forward to for weeks. Could really go either way. I'm hoping good things. It's a return to the All-Huddle team, where this week we're going to be putting together an unbeatable team using only 80s and 90s cartoon characters and the best of our nostalgic recollections of the exact same. You guys fired up for it?
Oh, I'm fired up for this one.
I didn't know it was limited to 80s and 90s, so I do have a 70s guy on my team, so you'll just have to deal with that when it comes.
Me as well. You kind of threw in that 80s and 90s thing.
I'm pretty sure I was pretty fucking clear about that, but I mean, we can jump off that bridge when we come to it. No need to fight now.
Jump it.
Will you promise to make another really loud and amazing noise?
Oh, woo!
Okay, I was going to say later on, but that's fine right there.
I'm ready.
We'll try to give our listeners a heads up before that happens. Now, a couple quick things about that sound, Pete. One, I noticed you're doing a hand motion with it. You know that this is not on videotape.
Oh, I do know that.
Okay,
I do know that.
Just make sure I don't want you to lose anything in the translation on the sound. Two, that sounds a lot like a seal being raped on a roller coaster or something. I mean, what are you putting together on that? How'd you come up with that sound?
It was actually a combination of a seal being raped on the beach there by Ric Flair. I don't know if you remember.
I do. Wow.
Yes, he did that sound, and that's what I think the sound he makes
different
as
hand
he comes
gesture,
inside
though.
of the seal on the beach.
A different hand gesture when he did it.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was a little wipe off the forehead of the sweat.
I'm also going to need you to not take my joke and make it funnier. I mean, can you just come up with your own? Because, I mean, Jesus, man, nicely handled with the Ric Flair. Well, anyways, before we get into these subjects, a quick piece of housekeeping. Let's start where we always do. For some miracle, Uber continues to sponsor us. You guys know my position. If you are either responsible or degenerate jinker, Uber's for you. You don't feel like dealing with the complete pain in the ass of flagging down a cab or having to get the cash to pay for it. Use Uber, baby. Big, classy. Press a button. They come to you.
Yeah. I really like Uber just because they're like a big middle finger to all the SFO taxi drivers. They actually, if you've been following Uber at all, they've had a cease and desist order sent to them by the SFO taxi cab drivers simply because they were stealing some of their fares. But recently the Public Utilities Commission kind of ruled in their favor, said no, actually Uber can operate, and they are just fine to keep going ahead. And there is actually a new app on Uber now, a new feature on their app that'll allow you to do a fare share. So if you jump in the cab with a few of you and your friends, you're all getting drunk and you don't want to pay for everybody's ride home, you can press a button now and share the...
Good Uber knowledge.
Yeah.
Scott, why does this fool know way more about Uber than you? I mean, I feel like this should have been coming from you, buddy. What's going on here?
Well, you should have explained that Peter works for Uber. We just brought him on the show.
I mean, I didn't know it. I honestly didn't know it at all. I thought he worked in cartoons with Seinfeld.
Or if he
Uber, I
doesn't,
need a
he
raise.
will. He will now. We'll send this to them and probably get a job offer the next day.
Man, I mean, you are 2 for 2. Funnier joke and more Uber knowledge. One more of these, you're getting the fuck out of here, Pete.
Oh, woo!
Yeah, goddamn it. Same hand motion as well. The other thing I wanted to bring up on the housekeeping is we got, not our first, but one of our first comments on our YouTube page, this being episode 30, and it was directed immediately at me. It was from a man named Giraffe Pimp. And he says as follows: when I listen to the huddle, I struggle with the wish of wanting someone to punch Bram in the face to make him humble. So thank you so much. I am sure, Giraffe Pimp, that either of these two gentlemen would be more than happy to punch me in the face. I don't play well with people named Giraffe. I'm sorry, people named Pimp.
I was going to say, all of a sudden, most of our followers seem to be pimp related in some fashion. Earlier we had a comment from a pimp named Slickback. and now we got a giraffe pimp.
Yeah, I looked her up. We kept calling a pimp named Slipback he when we were talking about it a couple weeks back. I couldn't let well enough alone and had to really delve deep into the person who hated me so much that they had to write that take and call me a potty mouth. Turns out it's a she. So if I offended you, a pimp named Slapdick, my apologies.
Slickback.
Slickback, Slapdick, whatever. Either way, I apologize. I should have figured out your sex. All right, last piece of housekeeping, and I'm sorry to keep shithousing on you, Scott, but I got to point it out. I got to let the record reflect that just recently, Scotty decided to quit our fantasy football league, and I am pretty sure he quit it because I beat the shit out of him in the fantasy basketball league, and he couldn't handle failure again. True?
Ooh.
I'm so confused why you keep saying that I quit because I was never in your league. What I did is I said I was not going to participate in your league.
Well, that's the same
So why do you
thing.
keep saying I quit your league?
Well,
It doesn't
okay.
make any sense.
You refused to participate in our league because we beat your ass in basketball.
No, it's because I play in a different fantasy football league.
A better one.
A league of losers. Shut up, Pete. I mean, you're not involved
It's just
in
way
this at all.
better.
How do you know
Composed of
this?
people who actually have great knowledge of the game.
Pete's over there just sitting in anonymity. He doesn't have to worry about us shithousing him. Maybe we should turn on him. So you won't admit to quitting because we beat your ass last year?
How can you quit something you were never a part of? That doesn't make any sense.
All right. Well, last chance. If by the end of this episode you have any interest in finally joining and showing that you have the balls enough to not quit, you let me know and we'll let you right back in.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Warriors update, baby. The only thing that's happened since our last podcast, at least the only thing that's worth our attention, is the 2013-2014 schedule came out. It's been a long time since I gave a single F about the schedule. Generally speaking, during this off period, we're only focusing on some miracle that could turn the Warriors around, whether it be Erica Dampier finally, elevating his game to make us a difference, or some recent terrible signing like Corey Maggette. But now that we're so good, we can focus on minute details like this and figure out all the things it shows us about our team. Why don't we start just general observations and then talk about it a little bit more specifically, generally speaking. I took a look, and what I think this thing is showing us, man, is that the league is finally showing the Warriors the type of respect that's reserved for really good teams. Here's what I mean by that. Last year, we had 8 national TV games. This year, we have 17 national TV games, including game and opening night at home and a Christmas Day game.
Against the Lakers.
Exactly right. And then a Christmas Day game against the Clips. Also, they've only given us 15 back-to-back games. That's respect. I'm not the only one who's noticing it. Here's Bob Myers, our GM, after he saw the national TV games. Quote, "The amount of national TV appearances that we're scheduled for this year is a sign that the league recognizes the growth in our team and the fact that people around the country want to see us play. Opening against the Lakers, being chosen to play on Christmas night, if you're a fan, that's a pretty exciting thing for your team. So we're happy about that." And I can confirm that I am a fan. I am, in fact, happy about that.
What's weird to me about this is how blatantly the league is setting up a team that is now in favor and is good. It's kind of like the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And I had never seen it so blatant an example of this than in the Warriors' schedule this year compared to last year.
It's the back-to-back games that really stress that for me. I mean, there's a term, a scheduled loss, that you occasionally hear with the NBA. When you're playing back-to-back games and the second game is on the road, what they tell you is that second game was basically a scheduled loss. They knew you had no shot. The fact that they're limiting us to only 15 back-to-back games total suggests exactly what you're saying, man, that they're kind of keeping us in mind. They want the national attention, to be honest, and more than that, they want the Warriors to succeed. So that's a pretty goddamn good thing.
Another observation is that they have lots of home games in March again this year, and a lot of those games are against Western Conference teams. So I think that's going to be a huge boon to them at the end of the season.
Good use of the word boon, and you didn't really give the full stat there, buddy. I mean, I expect a little bit more from my producer. What I got here is that they start on the road, 14 of their first 22 on the road, and that they end at home, 13 of the last 20, which I think is actually one hell of an advantage. Also, do you feel like I just punked you right there with that information? Like, do you feel belittled at all, or?
I knew that was in the pages and pages of notes you have printed out for this show.
Yeah.
So I knew you were going to come through and save me in the clutch, so I appreciate that.
My absolute pleasure. I actually have here in my notes that Scotty doesn't prepare at all, so I got that written down. I was ready for you. No problem whatsoever. Pete, you got any thoughts on the schedule? Do you give a shit?
when you compare it to the current champions, the Spurs, they only have 4 nationally televised games.
Miami.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Western Conference champions. You were on it.
Western Conference champions. They only have 4 televised games coming up in this next season. And I think it's a throw out also to, as you like to bring up all the time, the Oracle Arena fans. I think that makes a great televised games when you have fans in the stands that are just screaming their heads off.
Bram has planted another super fan of the fans here. Is that why we had Pete on today?
It's a Warriors
Good
podcast,
God.
asshole. Of course we have Warrior fans on the podcast. And Pete, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, there's a different way to kind of look at this thing. Really, professional sports, NBA included, is just a television show. That's all this thing is. It's reality TV. And what they are trying to do is give the national media the best possible reality TV show that they can. The fact that they have selected us doesn't necessarily mean they think we are going to be winners, but it does mean that we play the type of basketball that people everywhere want to watch. Right. That is really encouraging to me, man. That is not, I mean, we have spent this entire offseason and the better part of the postseason talking about the huge changes that this new regime within the Warriors has brought about. This is just another step down that road, you know?
Yeah. Another observation, too, they only played the Thunder 3 times.
Houston, too.
And only Houston 3 times,
Damn.
which in the case of Houston, it's probably a good thing from a win-loss perspective. I'm disappointed disappointed in that because you start to see this rivalry we have going with Houston. So I'd like to see them play 4 times.
Yeah, I agree. That's a perfect dovetail, man. When we go towards the games that we are looking forward to, I've identified at least 3 main ones and then a couple others.
Well, I've circled the first thing I did when I got the schedule. First game I circled January 28th versus the Washington Wizards. Now, last year,
oh my God,
Bram used his season tickets to get tickets to the Wizards game.
Wow.
And a week before the game, he comes to me, he confirms that I can go to him with the game, only to then days before say that he gave the tickets away.
Not I did.
So
my wife.
I'm just wondering, is anything going to be different this year?
Yeah, definitely. The thing that's going to be different is I'm not going to promise you shit. I'm not getting you any games, and I'm not taking you to any games because I already have one person in my life who's like whining I have to listen to. Maybe whine is the wrong way to put it. Complaining. Eric has something to tell me, I got to listen. I really like you, Scott, but I'm going to tell you right now, the fact that you're whining to me, I don't have to listen to that at all, buddy.
Whatever games you've circled, let me know. I'll get tickets and then be sure to give them away.
Pete, are you busy on the 28th? Would you like to go to the Washington Wizards game with me? Because
only if Scott comes.
I only have 2, buddy. There's nothing I can do there.
Don't say yes. Let me warn you. Do not say yes.
The only condition is if you come, you are not allowed to make that goddamn noise. I mean, you can do anything else in the stands, but no 2 hands in the air noise for you. I mean, that's enough for me. The first game that struck out for me that I was looking forward to is no further than opening night, October 30th, Los Angeles Lakers. Looking forward to this thing for a couple of reasons. One, because we're finally going to unveil the new look Warriors. We've been talking about them all offseason. Iguodala's finally going to put on a Warriors jersey and show us what the hell we can do. We'll see what Bogut is capable of. We'll see what Steph's capable of. But 2, we're also going to get a first row seat to watch Laker fans slowly realize how far this team is sunken under Baby Bus. Last year, they opened up the year being title contenders, maybe even title favorites. This year, they opened it up as the 3rd worst team in California. And I think that's only going to go, probably in the wrong direction. So I love the idea that we're going to be there. Now, quick prediction. I think that Iguodala and Steph are both going to foul out just by looking at Kobe Bryant. I don't think Kobe's going to play, but I'm sure he will be there. The rest will 100% respect it. And then one last Kobe-related point. Kobe's Achilles recovery apparently has been going phenomenally well. I'm sure he's used some kind of German blood doping shadiness to get back up on his feet. But I wanted to at least play this quote that we heard recently. It's Kobe talking about his amazing recovery. Here's Kobe.
Kobe, yeah, he's real with the flow. Kick in the door, waving the flow. All you heard was stop, can't take the hits no more. In the flow. All you heard was stop, can't take the hits no more. Ha! Didn't know I had your block on SWAT. I'm CIA, I nothing but beat cops. I rock like my mom's main name was cocaine.
If you thought I was going to play an actual Kobe Bryant quote on this damn podcast, you are tripping. I will say that was a new rap quote, or at least rap clip. Where'd you find that one, Scotty?
That was something that I came upon on an old iPod that I had and was listening to recently. I just had it on random, like play any song. And that Kobe freestyle came up, which is from the mid-2000s. It's just a classic. It's just a classic. Later on, he has a line about, I'm going to jump in your brain and tell you what you're thinking, which I just always, it's a real pleasure to revisit that song.
You're a pretty big fan of Kobe Bryant's rap styling, Speed?
Hell no. But I do hope that whatever sort of German-engineered freaking baby sealed blood that is being rubbed on his Achilles tendon is also rubbed on Stephen Curry's ankles.
I like that. Me too. In fact, they should probably get together and make those trips in unison. All it can do is absolutely help us out. I was going to bring you up to speed, Scott, on a CD, 1994 Basketball's Best Kept Secrets. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to check it out, but if you like Kobe's freestyle here, you'll certainly like all the songs we can find there. Next game I was looking forward to is March 4th at Indiana. Another couple of reasons I'm looking forward to this one. One's basketball related, straightforward. The Warriors are probably the most up-and-coming team in the West, and there's no question that the Pacers are the most up-and-coming team in the East. So to watch these two teams square off against one another is going to be a phenomenal game. Also, it's the only time they play against each other, but perhaps more importantly, it's going to be the first time since the pseudo fight in the last game. I'm sure we all remember last time the Warriors-Pacers played, it got into kind of a pushing match, and Hibbert ended up fighting not only David Lee, but going after Steph Curry. Here, just to remind you, is Roy Hibbert talking about that fight.
I mean, to tell you the truth, it was between me and David Lee. I don't know why, he came at me like that. Other guys want to run up on me. That's I don't know, but it's unfortunate. Happy to see him win.
All right, I can't help it. I'm sorry. One of the other reasons I brought this up is because I think Roy Hibbert sounds exactly like this Muppet.
English word, heady moving. See the moving?
Could you guys tell the difference?
All I can say is bork, 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 bork.
What a random-ass character the Swedish chef was, but perhaps he got his shit together, got out of chef school, grew about 18 feet, and then became Roy Hibbert. So good for you, Swedish chef. A completely unexpected turnaround of your career. All right, I'll give you guys one last game I'm looking forward to. Scott, you've already alluded to it. This being December 6th at Houston.
I thought you were talking about the Wizards.
I'm not looking forward to the Wizards game. Who cares about the Wizards? I can't even name like 4 Wizards at this stage. The Houston game I can talk about. The multiple reasons. One, they're only playing them 3 times. This is going to mean a lot. And then starting last year, we already kind of established this pretty nasty rivalry with Houston. It included that 3-point game where they tried the 3-point record game where they tried to set it against us, and Mark Jackson fouled them, preventing them from doing it. I still think that was a badass move, by the way, and don't understand why you don't respect it.
Classless.
It was so classy and so smart. But it also includes Chandler Parsons' stupid smiling face. I hate that guy, and every time I see him, and the idea that they've now added Dwight Howard only adds to this nasty rivalry. So I'm kind of fired up to see where the hell that thing goes.
Yeah, Dwight Howard turned the Warriors down in free agency. So that's just another reason to come after Houston. I think it'll increase the rivalry because everybody, especially that early on in the season, is going to want to just take it to Houston and destroy Howard because he's become such an unlikable figure in the league.
I completely agree. I am looking forward to booing the shit out of him. And just to give you the other side of that spectrum, I know we're not supposed to pick more than 3 games. I'm going to give you one extra one. This being the January 24th versus Minnesota at home. Don't care about Minnesota. That's not why I'm doing it. What I do like is that I am generally positive Kevin Love's going to be traded. I just think that's going to happen despite the changeover in the front office over in Minnesota. I think the contract they gave him, the way that they've treated him, he wants out. And with that in mind, I think that every time Kevin Love comes remotely close to the Oracle, we need to give this fool just nonstop standing ovations, every fucking source of support we possibly can without rooting against the Warriors, so that when that trade starts to be discussed, we are one of the locations he'd like to come to, and maybe we can pawn off David Lee to make that happen.
I think that would be a huge midseason trade that could take this team from just an absolute playoff lock to a potential title contender.
Yeah.
So Oracle fans, do your duty, show up that day, and definitely... That's a weird balance.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah,
it's going to be hard. Obviously you can't root for Minnesota. Just random shit. When Kevin Love gets to the free throw line, standing ovation. I don't give a shit what the score is. We give it to him. When Kevin Love gets introduced, and he's coming out, from the huddle for the first time. Standing ovation. Maybe even work in some signs. I mean, I'm not a big sign guy, but if you're under 12 years old, you own a marker and a piece of cardboard, write Kevin Love and some nice little message and get it out there.
Would it be okay if I made my woo sound then?
No.
Damn it.
I'm going to say no, but you
just
could probably
locking me
come up
down
with
on
something
it.
else. I mean, mix another late 80s wrestler with another animal, put those two together, come up with a new fucking sound.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. That sound you can make at any point, at any time.
All right. Thanks.
Any other games you guys are looking forward to? You guys ready to move on to the All-Huddle team?
I am ready to move on because I'm amazed we've talked about a schedule for this long. It's a downtime in the world.
I will say that it is maybe a little bit of an indication that we're kind of in the doldrums here and there's not a whole lot to discuss, that we would spend 10 minutes talking about the schedule. But now that you've said that, you've actually reminded me that I skipped an entire segment on it. How many wins we got this year? Before you say anything, the ESPN came out today. They guessed that the Warriors would end up 6th in the West with 50 wins. So give me your guys' predictions. Scotty, why don't you start us off?
I'm predicting 53 wins and the 4th seed in the West.
53? That's a lot of wins,
Yeah,
man.
that's what I said.
Wait, what'd you say?
53
53.
wins. I don't think that's a lot of wins. If you look back at, it's only 6 more than they got last year. And I think Denver was the 3rd seed last year with 57 wins.
Yeah.
So it puts them right there in that 4th place spot.
How about you, P? What do you think?
I think they win each and every game.
82-0.
First seed the whole way.
First time ever. You thinking all the way to the championship or just
All the way
82-0?
to the championships. I mean, they sweep every series.
Just a historical season, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you for that badass analysis there, Pete. I can tell you've obviously spent hours and hours and hours poring
So
over the
many
schedule. I mean, Jesus Christ. Well, surprisingly, I think they are going to lose some games. I mean, it pains me to say that,
Just
but I
not a
do think it's a
believer.
possibility. I'm going to undercut you, Scott. I'm going to say 51. Why don't we put the over
What
under?
is this? The Price is Right over here.
Yeah.
This guy's going a little bit of what ESPN said, under what Scott said.
What is that, your mathematical analysis, asshole? I understand what the hell I'm doing. Why don't we put something on it? We're not allowed to, the state of California and its infinite wisdom doesn't allow us to bet, so why don't we call it jelly beans as opposed to dollars? I say we'll put the over-under at 52. I'll take the under.
That sounds good.
Yeah. We'll put it on the line, and we'll say 50 jelly beans on it.
50 jelly beans.
It's on. All right, now, finally time to move on, baby, to the All-Huddle team, this being the first annual 80s, 90s, and apparently 70s and other years cartoons. Quick rules and reminder on the segment when we start on the segment. Reminder, what we're doing is putting together a complete team. Point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center, and then any kind of management positions. And this time, whereas in the past we've used fictional characters like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, we're going to be using cartoons. Now, rules. Quick. 1, no characters from the Marvel comic universe. We don't want a team of all X-Men if we can avoid it. And 2, and now this one's going to be a little bit harder. No superpowers. We'll see whether or not that's actual possible.
Wow, that's just taking away.
Yeah,
so
we'll
many.
see. I mean, Adam and we'll argue about it as they come up.
Superpower,
I'm
what
thinking like
does that
fly
term mean?
in. I don't want Superman, basically. But, we'll take that on a case-by-case basis. Finally, 3, nobody from Space Jam. And everything else is wide open. Why don't we start at point guard? Either of you gentlemen want to start us off?
Well, actually, let me start it off with the entire team in one fell swoop.
Oh.
Yes, the Harlem Globetrotters. You guys have if you're probably over the age
70s
of 35.
cartoon.
Yeah.
Bam, so glad that you brought the 70s back into it after Bam cruelly tried to limit it to the 80s and the 90s.
It wasn't crude.
Yeah, no, cruelly.
Oh, okay.
Cruelly. It was very cruel, actually, because the Harlem Globetrotters deserve so many accolades. I mean, as a team, if you're not familiar with this cartoon, go ahead and look it up on YouTube. But basically, the plot of every episode is they go to some random place. The one that I watched just last night was the Harlem Globetrotters meet Snow White. So they jump.
That's random.
Oh, it's random, but it's solid. It's
Wow.
solid. It's exactly like Snow White, except the 7 dwarves are not the 7 dwarves. It's the 7 Harlem Globetrotters. And they come in there, and basically, in order to rescue Snow White from the queen, they have to play a game of basketball.
Shocking.
And yeah, right. And so the queen gets uses her magic power to create a team of ballin' ass gargoyles.
You're not going to give us the entire plot of this cartoon right now.
Oh,
are you?
yes, I am.
You are.
Oh, yes,
weird.
I am.
That's
Or it's
weird.
either that or I make another really loud sound, and,
Okay.
and you're just going to get fucked.
Finish it out, please.
Okay. So the fucking Harlem Globetrotters basically just ball out, and they find a way in the second half. They'll
Wait.
lose their ass in the first
No way.
half of the
They
game.
won that game?
You would never know. You would never know. But they do come in with some superpowers, one of which is at the very final shot, as one of their guys pulls up for the last shot, the bitch-ass queen freezes them. One of the Harlem Globetrotters comes from behind, picks up the guy, throws him into the basket with the basketball.
Thinking on their feet. Now, quick clarification to your point. This one being to you, Scotty. I should have given you a heads up. Pete is just smart enough to do things like this where it fucks up the entire premise. I mean, now we're not supposed to do this anymore? I'm not even sure what the next step is. Why don't you give us a point guard, Scotty?
I'm going to say Leonardo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Solid.
He was the guy who had the blue mask
Yeah.
and the
And
sword.
the swords, sure.
And overall, he was their leader.
Yeah.
And he was disciplined. He had the closest relationship with Splinter.
Yeah.
This is the type of guy you want as a point guard.
He'd be kind of like a coach on the floor
Player
kind
coach,
of thing.
yep,
He's keeping
exactly.
everybody accountable. Here's my concerns with Leonardo. Let's start easy. Ball handling is going to be tough. Only 3 fingers, if memory serves on that. And, I mean, that's really going to slow down his control of the ball. Also, turtles, generally speaking, aren't fast. Now, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles who have been exposed to toxic slime in the sewer generally pick up speed, but not the type of elite athleticism I would like to see at the point. What do you think?
Well, the weird thing about Leonardo, other than, his obvious leadership skills, there's not much differentiation in physical ability between all the different Teenage Mutant Ninja
Factually
Turtles.
correct. Just weapon differences, and that's
Yeah.
not going to make that much of a difference on the floor.
Right.
Yeah.
So, beyond that, just his obviously close relationship with Splinter, who I did have as a pick for coach.
We'll get there. We'll get there. I mean, absolutely.
Anyways.
I'll throw out my own suggestion. I'm going to give you 2 because they're interrelated. 1 being the Roadrunner. 2 being Speedy Gonzalez. Now, their traits are identical, but I'll take them in turn. Let's start with Speedy Gonzalez. Amazing speed. I mean, no one's going to stay in front of this guy. He's going to be able to penetrate at any point. Here's my concern. Size problems. I don't know if he's going to really be able to get the ball off when he gets into the lane, especially in the NBA. And then my other problem, and this dovetails right into Roadrunner, is communication. I mean, this guy says a lot, but I don't feel like I've understood anything he's ever
Hurry
said.
up pretty well.
He
Right.
does say
Underlay.
underlay. That's exactly right, but he seems to be kind of limited there. Same problem with Roadrunner. I mean, unless we gave him one of those signs that we occasionally see the coyote riding on, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to bark out orders or plays. So both of those are tough. Any other point guard suggestions?
I actually have Yoda.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could consider that a cartoon because of the computer animation that was in the...
Oh, you mean reason? I'm calling bullshit on that.
Come
I am
on.
calling. That's not a cartoon.
It's definitely a cartoon. What is it? It's not a live action?
It's a movie.
A cartoon can be a movie.
It's not animation.
It's computer animation. They call it computer-generated animation.
votes.
Yeah, and we're getting into superpowers. Was he going to use his
All right, then
force?
fuck both you guys. I'm going for Scrappy.
Scrappy Doo?
Scrappy Doo.
You,
attitude.
You and Brad Miller are the only ones suggesting that. Brad Miller got the
Tattoo? No, that's good knowledge. Make your case for Scrappy, and then we'll pick our point guard.
Well, I mean, okay, first off, he's scrappy. So he's going to go out there. I think he can handle the ball. He bounces around everywhere. He's extremely fast, and he has a fighting spirit. What you're looking for in a team leader on the floor is someone who's going to be very fired up under pressure. Even when the chips are down,
Okay.
you want them to have that fighting spirit. And I
can
think
see that.
Scrappy brings that to the team.
Yeah, all right. Scrappy, to me, the second you introduce him to the team, the entire program is going to just shut down. I mean, as we remember from even the Scooby-Doo, those were the shitburger episodes. Yeah. But I'm not going to go after your selection specifically. Why don't we take them all in turns? Who do we got? We got Speedy, Roadrunner, Leonardo, Scrappy, and we are banging the Yoda. Who's your guys' pick?
Fuckers.
I'm sticking with Leonardo, born leader.
I'm going to go Speedy Gonzalez. I feel like he can handle the ball, and he's fast enough where I'm not worried about him getting his shit tossed. I think he can get in the lane and score.
I'm going with Yoda.
God damn it.
And fuck you to both of you.
Woo! All right, let's move over to shooting guard. I'm going to start us off, and this one is super random, and I'm not sure why I feel this way, but I do. Pink Panther. Now, Pink Panther never really exhibited any kind of athletic skills, but he just seemed like an athlete to me. Kind of moved like one, seemed fairly silky, like the type of dude who would have just a sweet stroke. Quiet. He's a quiet guy, not going to be a real locker room guy. There's going to be a lot of pratfalls and that kind of stuff, but I just have a good feeling about this guy. I'd take him, pretty early second round. That's pretty much my take. Might have a drug problem, certainly marijuana, but I mean, we don't have to get into that. I mean, that's pretty common in the NBA anyway. So who else you guys got?
Well, I went actually with Tigger from Winnie the Pooh.
Oh,
yeah.
good leaping ability?
Yeah, very good leaping ability, very fast.
little unpredictable, and I can see like a Delonte West kind of streak. Like he might do anything at no moment. He's not gonna, give it to anybody's mom, but he might do something crazy for no reason. He's jumping around on the goddamn tail. Now,
Celebrations are going to be great, though.
would we allow the jumping on the tail? I mean, was that traveling for existence? Because his only athleticism comes from using his tail, if memory serves.
Yeah, no, he could totally use it as long as he keeps his dribble alive or picked up his dribble.
All right, who's your shooting guard?
So I'm going back to the 70s on this one. This is
Cheater.
kind of my most obscure pick, but there was a cartoon called Shazam, not to be confused with the Shaquille O'Neal movie, I think, that comes later on.
Or be confused with any cartoon anyone's ever heard of at any point ever.
Let me give you guys the background of this. Maybe it'll.
Have you personally seen this cartoon?
Yes, I have.
Did he just make it up right now?
It was one of my favorites. The premise really taps into an adolescent fantasy of us all. Captain Marvel is the alter ego of Billy Batson, a youth who works as a radio reporter and was chosen to be a champion of good by the wizard Shazam.
I feel like you're describing my adolescent dreams, man. This is amazing. It's like you're reading my mind. You
was
must
my-
be Kobe Bryant.
How was my Harlem Globetrotters take long?
Amazing. You know what? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Pete. You were so right about that.
It gets even better. Whenever Billy
It's
speaks,
even better. It's been terrible so far.
Whenever Billy speaks the wizard's name, he is struck by a magic lightning bolt that transforms him into an adult superhero, empowered with the abilities of 6 historical figures.
Okay. What were those like Mormon messages that you used to see like occasionally on Saturday mornings? Like, you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
be
The
nice to
Church
one
of
another.
Latter-day Saints. And
Church of Latter-day Saints. That's
Right.
exactly what this sounds like. It's like a half an hour program from the Church of Latter-day Saints. It came on right after that song introducing "I'm Just a Bill on the Way to Capitol Hill." It's the functional equivalent. Did you already give us a shooting guard, Pete? I forget.
Yeah,
Tigger.
That's right. Let me add one more, and then let's make our call. Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe. Baby.
It's a Marvel comic.
No, but
It's a Marvel comic.
factually incorrect. Oh well,
Yeah, it's
okay.
a Marvel comic.
It was a Marvel comic, but I'm not talking about the comic book character. I am talking about the cartoon character, which is a giant distinction. And let me go concerns and then abilities. Concerns. Communication is going to be a nightmare with this guy after what
Hand
years?
signals.
Oh yes, I mean it's going to have to be hand signals, but I don't even remember him doing that.
No.
Years and years of a savage ass ninja-like presence on the GI Joe squad. Not one word from him. Not one communication. I don't remember seeing him blink. No. So that's going to be a problem. But dedication to the game. I mean, this dude is going to bring everything he has every single night, and I'm thinking. Might be setting records, like 100% from the free throw. You know, I mean, it's the type of dude who's going to take a skill and just fucking perfect it. So I feel pretty good about Snake Eyes.
Can't go wrong with a ninja. I mean, if you had said Storm Shadow, maybe some of those communication problems might have been alleviated, but Snake Eyes is just playing better physically.
And Storm Shadow, you have issues with loyalty. I mean, that guy jumped back
Very
and forth.
much.
You never
Knowledge.
knew where he stood.
Very good knowledge. It's decision time, gentlemen. I'll go first this time. I'm going to go Pink Panther.
Shazam.
You know what? I'm going to have to go with Scott on this. Shazam!
Oh my God.
Damn, it sounds so awesome.
So terrible. Off we move to small forward. You guys want to take the first crack?
All right, I'm going to go with Luigi on this one. And before I get to my analysis, I just want to apologize for the crackling on my microphone.
Come on, Scott.
Look, I don't know how it's happening, but we fixed it from here on out, hopefully.
Luigi as in Mario and Luigi?
Luigi as in Mario and Luigi. He was athletic, dependable, and I think he's underrated, and that gives him a chip on his shoulder.
Sure.
And ultimately, I'm trying to put together a team that has chemistry with each other and has different pieces. So this is a piece of my championship team.
Understood. And also, very little known cartoon. I think that was Captain N or Captain Nintendo. I remember this show and really enjoying it. So, good call from you.
I also think he could play the stretch 4 if you need him.
You think he's got a jump shot?
No, I don't
How
think he has a
tall
jump
is
shot.
Luigi, though? I mean, that's kind of a hard read.
I
Anywhere
think that
between
it-
3 feet and like 8 feet.
Well, yeah, exactly. It is a hard read. I'm
what
not sure.
needs.
I feel like taken into a regular human proportions, he would be probably,
Legitimate.
6'6".
Luigi was always my guy, incidentally. In the games, not just the cartoons. Always went Luigi. Liked kind of the green color. I was kind of into that.
Also, if it's Luigi from Mario 2, which again, I mean, that could be a cartoon.
He could jump.
He had crazy hang
He could
time.
jump. Yeah, that's real deal. That fool could let it loose. Who do you got at small forward, man?
So for small forward, I have Chester Cheetah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, you guys are all over the board on this. I really envision Saturday morning cartoons, but we're expanding that. What do you like about Chester Cheetah?
He just has plenty of Cheetos. I mean, what's not to like about some guy on your team having so many Cheetos? He's just jumping out of the bag of them, comes on, plays some basketball, feeds everybody at halftime. This is awesome. This is a great pick. It's a lock.
Chester had an infectious energy. He'd be the type of guy who might want him off the bench because you know he's going to come out blazing. He
Him and
seems
Tigger would actually
kind of hard to control, and in fact, Bill Simmons' rule is you never want two crazy people on the same team, and putting Chester along with Tigger could be a real mistake. I'd really watch out about combining those two. I don't know about his athleticism. I feel like we saw Chester
He's a
Cheetah.
cheetah. He's fucking athletic.
He's hella fast, and he did some skateboarding. I feel like in one of the
he's cool.
commercials.
He wears
so he had.
shades.
He had something.
That's what I'm most concerned with, the
shades.
shades thing.
Yeah.
You guys who are coming onto the court playing in shades, he probably I put those guys in categories of guys who wear pants when they play.
Oh, both of which completely unacceptable. Well, here's why we don't have to worry about it. I have a lock. Popeye the Sailor. Now, undersized. A little bit undersized. I'm not really sure how tall this guy is, but I will say that once he knocks down a little bit of spinach action, nobody's stopping this fool. He is giving you unbeatable power from the small forward position. Put him in the post. He is destroying you. There's going to be some PED concerns. I don't know whether or not spinach qualifies as a steroid. I'm going to say no. I'm just going to say that now. No, but it is a concern of mine.
Look at those massive forearms on him, too.
So that's what I mean.
God, he can nail a shot from anywhere.
And can you imagine how quickly he is going to hit all the groupies? I mean, Olive Oil was terrible. You get this guy away from that with all the fame and notoriety that's going to come with the type of success this guy's having, it is on.
I worry about his focus from that perspective because he's going to get distracted by the groupies. He's going to get distracted by... the guy was distracted by Olive Oil. That ran his life. And now you put him into the fame and the spotlight? He's not going to focus on the game.
That's a legitimate concern. That's a legitimate concern, but I do think he can handle it. Let me add one more, and then unless you guys have someone we can vote, Inspector Gadget. Let me start with my concerns. Idiot. He couldn't handle anything on his own.
Stupid.
Never really went anywhere. You're definitely going to need to bring Penny in the brain to help him through this situation. But if you can somehow contain his stupidity, his range is unbelievable. He is blocking everything on the court. He is scoring from anywhere. Even if you took away his hat helicopter, which incidentally I always thought was kind of underused, the rest of his skills are going to be unstoppable.
Oh, this guy's got extendable arms, extendable feet. He's got gadgets.
He's obviously.
If anything else fails, he's got gadgets.
Which is all you need. It reminds me a lot of Brandon Wright, kind of unexpected range. You guys ready for the vote? Or you guys anybody other? Or do you have any other nominations?
No, I'm going to go and vote for Popeye.
Yeah.
Yeah, Popeye too.
Clean sweep. It hurts me to say it, Inspector, but we got to go Popeye. Let's move over to power forward. I think this is going to be a jam-packed position. I will start us off, and much like Popeye, I have a lock. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, or just He-Man himself. There's nobody you guys can point out who I think could take He-Man's position down at power forward. We're getting into the whole superpowers thing here. As Prince Adam, he was terrible, useless, and possibly the most feminine character in the history of the world. But when he invoked the powers of Grayskull, this guy was unstoppable. If anybody can grab a rebound over Popeye, it is He-Man. I see this dude like a much stronger Blake Griffin. Might have trouble from 15 feet out, but he's just shitting on every possession, man.
I like this pick because I have just a soft spot for He-Man as from a nostalgia perspective.
Who doesn't?
The guy that was the best show ever. So...
Does anybody actually remember anything specific from the He-Man cartoons? Every time you bring up He-Man, everyone gets all fired up. But outside of him getting bigger and that kind of cat he rode around, I don't really remember shit about those cartoons.
No, me neither. I just remember he had a really terrible haircut.
That's actually correct.
I worry about he's got no touch from outside of 3 feet, which again I think why the Blake Griffin comparisons are phenomenal. I'll move on and I'll nominate Panthro from the Thundercats.
Nice, Thundercats. Oh.
Brilliant mind.
Was he really smart?
He was really smart. Again, I'm going back to a team that just is kind of hard worker and real intelligent, knows the game.
Man, you're putting together. You have a very specific draft strategy.
Yeah.
I can tell right here. They're all going to work together.
He was strong. He was very loyal. That was really the.
He took care of Snarf, if memory serves, so he's also caring.
I think he's very similar to a Karl Malone.
Oh, I can see that. He was always my favorite character, a little bit more so than Lion-O. Are you a Thundercats guy?
Yeah, I love Thundercats. Yeah, I even did the little Thundercats power-up thing.
Yeah, hell yes.
Schoolyard. Got some Thundercat power to me.
I remember him being able to fight. Like, he had nunchucks. That dude could definitely bring it. I don't remember him displaying any kind of athletic prowess, but those two probably dovetail within one another, so I'll give you that. Who you got?
Optimus Prime.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I mean, real leader, but also a big team player. And I mean, he's just a big guy. He was big for an Autobot.
Right, that's exactly right. It's going to be hard getting him in the gym. I mean, I can see a lot of destruction of property involved with the Transformers.
Well, I mean, it's going to be a pretty big gym if you have a team full of superhero cartoons.
Oh, so you're envisioning kind of like a whole makeover for the league kind of thing. Bigger locker rooms, bigger core.
Better. 15-foot hoops.
15-foot. And he could help with transportation. I mean, he just turns into that truck. They can put all the shit in his back.
Great point.
Yeah, no, that's not too bad.
The team color is blue and red.
Okay, fair enough. This is a loaded position. Let me give you guys one more just to make it a little bit harder, because so far I think we've really thrown out nothing but viable options. Batman. Now, older man. I'm going to come out there and say it. He's an older man, a millionaire who knows how in shape Bruce Wayne is able to keep himself in outside of his crime-fighting duties. But this dude his ingenuity was unbelievable. You figure he'll be able to sneak a couple of gadgets onto the floor that is going to help him immensely. Even just those smoke pills. I think this guy is going to be a hell of an addition to the team. And his money. Just kind of as an aside, he doesn't have to be the owner, but this team is going to be rolling with the best uniforms. They're going to be having the best trainers on Earth. I think Batman really makes your team complete.
All right, I'm going to vote and go for Panthro still.
Panthro's probably the worst one. What do you vote for?
Well, obviously, I'm tilted towards Optimus Prime, but since you brought up Batman, I'm obligated to bring in Superman.
God damn it, he flies! I thought that was a specific example that we couldn't use.
Well, all of these characters have some sort of specific freaking superpower.
Batman didn't have any superpowers.
No, that's it.
And Superman does, so that's why Superman is out.
That's all right. What do you think about that, Pete?
Right, but Optimus Prime does have superpowers, and he's a freaking
it's
robot.
a different type of superpower.
What's his superpower? I don't feel like Optimus Prime has any superpowers.
He's just a beast.
Yeah, he can transform. Okay, number one, that is a huge superpower right there.
Can we stop and just congratulate you for actually picking a fucking cartoon? I mean, I'm just so happy that you got back onto what we are doing. We shouldn't be giving you any shit about this.
Yoda is absolutely animated.
I'm not getting back into that.
There's no fucking Yoda character out there.
I am not jumping back into goddamn Yoda. I will make my vote. I'm going He-Man. I don't feel like you can really. I mean, the scouting report is going to try to keep him out of the lane, but you're not keeping He-Man out of the lane. That dude is bapping on everybody. Final position on the court before we get into management quickly. Center. Let's run through this, gentlemen, because we are running out of time. I'm going to start us off. Really kind of an offbeat suggestion, and I'm not sure how good it'll be, but I'd give him a chance. Mongo from Heathcliff. Giant. I mean, this guy was giant. It's going to be hard to determine his actual size. I mean, they were all cats, but just from the cartoon, I think this guy is like 8'5", 750 pounds. You put him right in the middle like a big baby Davis, and you just let him dominate down there.
I have no idea who that is, so I can't say anything about it.
God damn it. Go home and watch Heathcliff. I mean, that's your first homework assignment. He is amazing.
I'm going to say Sergeant
Says the
Slaughter.
guy who picked Shazam.
I didn't say you had to know who it was. Sergeant Slaughter, for me, often described as the toughest of all the Joes.
He was often described as that. Dude, what do you think? Post-game? I mean, what's he going to bring? A defender? Is he an offensive force?
The guy is a physical beast. I mean, he was opening objects like with his thumbnail on the show, and so I mean, and he was in charge of training all the other Joes.
Yeah.
So this is the type of guy who's going to be in peak physical shape
And feet position.
Yeah. And so that's who I'm going to nominate, Pete.
Understood?
Yeah, and I'm actually going to go for Dhalsim from Street Fighter 2. There actually was a Street Fighter 2 cartoon. And
Was there?
Yes, there was. Yes,
That was
there was.
called Street Fighter 2?
Yeah, it was.
Good knowledge.
Yeah, so
that's
you
very
look
good
it up.
knowledge.
Go ahead and Google it.
And he's kind of in the Inspector Gadget mode, right?
Yeah.
This guy's going to give you unexpected range, be blocking a lot of shots, dunking from like
Absolutely.
the three-point line. I mean, he probably weighed what, like 14, 15 pounds, despite standing 6'1", 6'2"?
Absolutely. But he had the power of teleportation.
That is-
So, oh, well, I'm sorry, superpowers.
I mean,
No.
Look, we're so used to you being off topic, we weren't even going to bring up the goddamn superpowers. I mean, let alone, I'm not sure they're a cartoon, but I'm going to give it to you.
Just so we
man.
can move on.
Real school coming
I
on.
let go of the fact that I don't know about that show.
I think
It was a cartoon. I don't think about the superpower.
I'm pretty
thing.
sure he's right about the cartoon portion. The superpower seems like a pretty legitimate argument, but I'll let you have it. Last person.
Shazam gets to be in here.
Yeah.
Dawson definitely gets to be in this.
Last person from me, right in the exact same kind of vein as Mongo, Fat Albert. They're going to fit the exact same kind of role. I'm not sure how athletic he is, but if you put him in the fucking key, nobody is dunking on this dude. He's like 8,000 pounds. So
Yeah.
we've got that. Who'd you guys pick?
I'm gonna stick with Sergeant Slaughter.
I'm going Dalsim just to support you, Petron.
Thank you. Of course I'm going to go Dawson.
Obviously. All right, off we go to management. This takes two forms. Oh, well, you know what? One bench suggestion, unless you guys got somebody.
No bench selection.
Ned Flanders, go fuck yourself. I'm
All right,
giving
that's
it.
terrible.
Ned
Let's
Flanders,
go. Management.
the perfect affect for coming off the bench. This guy always had a great
Are
attitude.
you? No, come on.
Yes,
Ned
I am
Flanders
giving
is-
it, and he was an amazing athlete. All right, management. I've got a few. We'll just do rapid fire so we get out of here. These are the guys I suggest as either coach or GM. Brain from Pinky and the Brain, and Penny in the Brain from Inspector Gadget. I think both of those guys, or all three of those people, would make one hell of a management team.
Good picks. I actually went Wile E. Coyote for coach, or Splinter from.
Splinter seems to work a lot better. I don't remember Wiley having any kind of like leadership abilities, but Splinter knew how to
Well, he
lead a
could
team.
drop some pretty complex plans, and as long as the Roadrunner wasn't involved, those plans did kind of work out. But
You're absolutely right. That guy could probably draw up a play better than anybody else. I didn't even think about it from that angle.
absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't pick any management players. Or sorry, didn't pick anyone for management.
All right. Well, as coach, I'm going to go Wile E. Coyote. That's a pretty goddamn good idea.
Yes, I'm winning. I'm like 2 for 2 right now.
And he
That's
occasionally
great.
spoke to the camera, and when he did, it had like an English accent. He sounded hell of smart. So we'll add that. Final thing, owner. I'm just going to give you guys rapid fire. You tell me if any of them stick you. Cobra Commander as a shady owner. Big money, big evil plans. I'm thinking he could put something together.
Absolutely.
Scrooge McDuck. I mean, anybody who can swim in his gold is
Well, he's a
deceptively
little tight-fisted
strong.
with that money, though.
He is, but I think you start getting him into a competitive situation. This dude's going to start spending big money. Khan from Tailspin, very cutty, but for those who remember the Disney Afternoon, this is the giant tiger. He amassed great wealth doing God knows what, but he'd have the money to do it. And finally, probably my favorite, Montgomery Burns from The Simpsons. He has huge money, and as we saw from the softball episode, this dude is down on cheating, is down on throwing money towards any problem. I'm thinking he could really build a team from scratch, and because of that, he's my pick. Who's your guys' owner?
I'm going to go with Lex Luthor. Yeah, you guys shit all over my Superman pick. I'm still mad at both of you guys for that shit. But Lex Luthor is a human, and he's also the greatest criminal mind. So whatever happens, he would probably devise the greatest point-shaving scheme ever, and we could all make a ton of money in
Be on
Vegas.
top of it.
Burnsy's got my pick. That's a lock.
Yeah, I've got to go Montgomery Burns as well. All right, huge fun, you guys. I was really looking forward to this episode. Felt like it went real well, per usual. Cannot tell you how much we appreciate you guys kicking it with us. Before we bounce, quick quote from the world of basketball. Magic Johnson was once asked how he worked with James Worthy so well, and he answered, quote, "It's almost like we have ESPN." Thanks a lot for kicking it, you guys. Please remember you can find us on Twitter, NBA Huddle. On Gmail at nbahuddle@gmail.com. Our websites remain Let's Go Warriors and nbahuddle.com, and you can find us on iTunes. And if you do, please remember to subscribe. We'd really appreciate that, and also to rate us, but only if you're going to give us 5 stars. Any parting thoughts, gentlemen, or yeah, there.
We are out.
Oh, woo!
Thundercats!
Good.